Good evening, everyone. Hi, I'm Ashwarya from the Soil Institute of Management. Today, thank you all for taking our time and coming here and joining us for this webinar. Mr. Mohammed Salman is the director for placements here with us, and he'll be addressing you guys and taking you through all the placement nuances that are covered here while you're at the campus and the kind of placement figures that we're having right now. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, Ashwarya, and a very warm welcome to all the participants in this webinar today. The title of our webinar is How does our PGDM program at SOIL prepare you for industry? I will, of course, cover that aspect completely, but let this webinar be about more than that. We would like to resolve any queries or any thoughts that are there in your mind, and towards the end of this session we shall take your questions, so if you can type them in, that will be great. Let me introduce myself first. I've been a part of the SOIL family for over 5 years now. I come from a corporate career, nearly 30 plus years in the IT industry, and have held senior leadership positions in major companies like HCL towards the end of my tenure there. And last 5 years, my journey with SOIL has been wonderful. The whole idea was that while addressing the requirements, the corporate relationship requirements of the institutions, I would also be able to interact very closely with students. And that is really what gives me all the drive and energy these days, wonderful young minds like yourselves. So to start with, you guys already, I assume, would have a good idea of SOIL as an institution. Our genesis, the fact that 32 of the leading corporates in the country, quite a few of which are global multinationals, came together to co-create the school back in 2009. The very fact that this industrial consortium of ours came together is an indicator that we sensed very early in the cycle that our relationship and our association with industry and with corporates needs to be at the highest level for us to create value for our students. That has been the whole idea behind this entire program. How over and above the leadership qualities that we shall build in all of our students, how closely connected are we to the corporate world and the nuances and the demands of the corporate world. So my role and the role of my team and my colleague Prateek is also here with me in this meeting. Hello, Prateek.
Hello, Salman.
Hi. So the objective of our team is to ensure that all of you have the most complete and thorough preparation for industry, A, and B, and equally importantly, you have an adequate number of opportunities to get into the career of your choice, the career of your dreams. That is really what we are all about as a team. That is what we focus on. And while both of us, work largely out of the one-year campus in Gurgaon, but we have a very close relationship, and indeed we co-own the CMS process of the PGDM program as well. So there is one single team which I lead that really works across both campuses. So that is in terms of our structure. We have members of our team who are dedicatedly working with the 1-year program as well as the 2-year program. And then, of course, I am there to sort of knit this whole thing together. And every single one of us ensures adequate number of opportunities of the best variety for all of our students, which really, in a sense, means that we have to look at each and every one of the students as individuals, not just as a collective unit. What are the demands and what are the requirements that each of our students have in terms of a career? So this is a complete journey. And today, our objective in these next few minutes would be to take you through that journey and to help you understand how this entire process works for both of our institutions, the 1-year and the 2-year programs, PGPM and the PGDM. The way we look at this entire placement process is, it's not just about, us bringing opportunities to the table for each of our students. That, of course, is a key part of it. But equally importantly, and more importantly, the students have to be able to succeed in cracking those opportunities. And that is the reason we've titled this webinar as the preparation that SOIL gives to our PGDM students for the corporate world. Because while all of our curriculum and our wonderful faculty that delivers that curriculum to you over the 2-year period, while all of them will develop the complete set of knowledge, competence, domain expertise in your chosen areas, be it HR management, financial management, sales and marketing, data science and analytics, that competence is something which our faculty, along with the industry experts who keep coming in, will help develop in you. Our task as the CMS team, the Career Management Services team, is to ensure that you develop the other skills as well. The understanding of the industries that you want to be a part of, understanding the job roles and the companies that come to the campus well, and of course, ensuring that you get through and are successful when it comes to the selection process, because there is a very extensive selection process that every company has, every company that visits the campus has. And that process varies, a lot of you would be familiar with the typical process, which means resumes are shared with the organizations. There is a short list that they prepare based on how they assess your resume. And thereafter, depending on how that company decides to go about the process, you will have, either a group discussion followed by a personal interview, or there could be a case analysis followed by a personal interview. There could also be an aptitude test. And there'll always be, of course, at the end, a personal interview, both to assess your domain competence as well as your attitudinal parameters and other things. So while I hope I'm not making this sound very complex, it may sound complex, but once we work with you, that complexity actually withers away, and you have all the tools at your disposal to be successful in the roles that you are applying for. So that is, in a nutshell, what our team does. But the gamut of preparing you is not just about, giving you practice rounds of interviews or practice rounds of GD or practice aptitude tests. That's just a part of it. The deeper part is really in preparing you from a corporate understanding perspective. And in order to do that, we have a very extensive set of corporate relations that we tap on, which includes not just the top companies in the country, it also includes a very large base of our own alumni. You know, as I said, we came together as a school in 2009, which really means that 13 batches of the one-year program, and now the third batch of the two-year program is going to pass out shortly. We have over 1,500 alumni of soil delivering value to some of the best companies, both in India and globally. So we have this large pool of talent to tap into when it comes to helping prepare you guys better. Our objective is that you should be successful, and that success comes when you also have this rich set of knowledge that you can tap into thanks to our industrial connects. So it's a very comprehensive process. It's a process that our team drives diligently right throughout the year. In fact, in your case, through the two-year program that you will be a part of. So soon as you join our program, you will start gaining exposure to what this process is all about. Of course, for the PGDM two-year program, the first year is spent largely understanding this process and also preparing for the summer internship interviews that start late October, November, and then conclude around February and March. This is for the summer internship that each student goes through in the months of May and June, an 8 to 10 week summer internship that all of you will be going through. So your training starts early. Your training and your orientation into this entire thing starts early. Aishwarya also, when she was introducing me, she talked about some of the data points, and I shall quickly refer, or rather, present some of that to you right away, without getting into too much detail, because we are in the midst of the placement cycle for the second year students right now. Close to 50% of them are already placed, and we have an adequate number of opportunities. There are already 3-4 processes which are getting underway, another 10 or close to a dozen that are listed for the rest of this month. So we anticipate that we should be reaching 75 to 80% of the total batch getting placed by the end of January, and the remainder hopefully by the end of February or early part of March or thereabouts. So this year has been a particularly good year for us. We have improved upon last year's, and I'm now giving you figures purely for the two-year batch, the PGDM batch, which is the program that you are applying for or plan to apply for. We are averaging upwards of 11 lakhs per annum, which is a substantial increase from the 9.6 or thereabouts that we had for the previous batch. So that's a huge, jump in the average CTC figure that our batch has achieved thus far, and we are delighted that one of our PGDM students is the highest grosser across both campuses this year. That is one of the students who's been selected recently by Accenture at a salary upwards of 19 lakhs. But salary is just a part of it, and I would honestly not want you to get too involved or too concerned about what kind of salaries you will draw. The compensation really is the outcome of a lot of factors, and your suitability for certain roles in certain organizations will depend on how you shape up and how your performance is as well throughout this entire cycle. So please don't worry too much about that. The more critical element is, are our students able to find the right kind of roles? And for that, I can tell you with absolute confidence that, and you will of course be speaking to some of those who've already found their career aspirations have been met. How happy they are with the kind of roles and the kind of organizations that have visited the campus. So we've had roles of all types for each, covering each of our cohorts, be it finance, be it human resource management, be it data science and analytics, or sales and marketing. In each of these areas, we've had multiple roles with multiple organizations that have already participated in the process. And there's, as I said already, a number of them that are listed for the remainder of this month and into February and beyond. So the bottom line is that all of our students get an adequate number of opportunities to be successful. And that is what the crux of our role as a careers team is, to ensure that you have those opportunities. And when you tie that up with the student preparation process that our career development team does, the two of them come together to ensure that your choice of career or your choice of role is actually met and delivered. So that, in a nutshell, is what our role is all about. Some of the other aspects that I would like to touch upon before I bring in my colleague, and we also open this up for questions from each of you, if any of you who have questions. Some of the other aspects I want to touch on are, our careers team also works diligently to ensure that you have the best of mentors guiding you through the process. So you may have read up on our website, and our admissions team, of course, would have spoken to you about it. We are a very unique institution that provides one-to-one mentorship at two different levels. One, each of you who get admitted to the program will have an internal mentor who's typically somebody either from the faculty or one of us, or somebody senior in the organization, basically. And the second one, which is a very, very critical differentiator for SOIL as an institution, is that you will get an external mentor. And our external mentorship program is very, very unique. You'll get a top corporate leader assigned to you as an individual mentor, who will work with the mentee. So let's say, you are the mentee and you have an industry leader as your mentor. You will then get into sessions of mentorship with your mentor, which are of course fixed as per mutual convenience. We'll have to remember that a lot of our mentors are very busy people, being industry leaders. So therefore, you may have to slot in calendars based on their availability, but that's something our students always manage to do. So that's really not much of a problem. But the critical element is that you will be guided by some of the best minds in industry. And this is something that virtually no other program brings to the table. Something which has worked extremely well. Some of the relationships that are built between the student and their mentors are relationships that last well beyond your tenure or the student's tenure at SOIL. These are relationships which go, a lot of them go on for years, and the mentor and mentee, even after the mentee has himself or herself also become a leader, even then they keep talking to each other and they keep in touch, and that relationship continues. So this is a very unique aspect of the program, and our team in the career services enables this for you. It is out of our very, very large network in the corporate world that you will get some of these mentors assigned to you. Over and above this, I already hinted at some of the preparation activities that we do through industry. So typically, for a lot of the roles that come to the campus, we put you through multiple levels of training or preparation, I should say. Training may not be the right word, preparation. So there would be, for instance, a session that you have with a corporate leader who's working in that precise domain. So let's say there is a role of a business analyst in an IT company, which comes to the campus. So we'll pull out one of our connects who's working with some of the leading one of the leading IT companies as a business analyst, who will come and guide you to prepare you better for that selection process. We also, of course, I referred to our alumni base earlier. We also tap upon our alumni to come in for each opportunity, and relevant alumni, of course, people who are working in a similar area, they will also provide you guidance. So therefore, our team ensures that there is a comprehensive level of preparation that comes your way before you even appear for that opportunity. Thereafter, of course, let me be very clear and honest and upfront with you on this. No institute can either guarantee employment or, as we keep saying, an institution, an educational institution is not a placement agency. And that's something we have to repeat ad nauseum, because students should never come in with the mindset that meri to naukri ho hi jayegi, these guys will get me through. No, guys, that's not how it works. We will provide every single bit of the enablement. But thereafter, please remember, in any selection process, you are directly sitting in front of the interview panel, and they have to like you, and you have to perform at a level that they feel that you will add value to their setup, their organization, for that role which you have applied for. So it's never a given, but the assurance that me and my team will give you always is that we will enable this for you. We will create the opportunities. You will have the opportunities that you need to participate in. We will prepare you for the process, but thereafter you have to perform and win the or get that selection done or get through the selection process. Right. So I think I've covered, all the aspects that I wanted to talk to you about upfront. I'll invite my colleague Prateek to add his comments and his value into this discussion. And thereafter, we will be very happy to take any questions from you related to the placement process, the preparation process for placements, or any other aspect of career services that you may want. So Prateek, over to you.
Yes, thank you so much for inviting me to this webinar. It's a pleasure. So first of all, I would like to start by welcoming all of you to this webinar. I think Salman has rightly mentioned all the basic and important things that you need to consider while we ensure that we find the right opportunity for you. So let me break this down, this journey of 2 years that you will go through, into some smaller milestones that we look at, right? So the first milestone, that when you join the Soil PGDM program, the first milestone from a careers perspective will be your internship, right? Now, when you start preparing for an internship in any organization, whether it is in a consulting firm, whether it is in an IT firm, whether it's FMCG, and so on and so forth, it is very important for you to understand the importance of the rigor and the hard work that goes into building your content to be able to be prepared for the internship interview, right? So any company that comes and hires an intern wants to look at, the depth of knowledge, the depth of research that you have done before coming for that interview, right? So it is important to know your basic concepts. Let's say if somebody is choosing marketing, or let's say analytics as a specialization, it is important for you to understand what are the basic key strengths, key skills, and key qualities that the companies are looking for, right? As a careers team, your mentor, as Salman mentioned, your mentors, both external and internal, will help you with various sessions over that 1 year, the first year period, where you'll be guided upon, what are the strengths that you have as an individual, what are the areas of improvement you have that you need to work upon, and basis your profile, you will be provided with the adequate number of opportunities to sit for and apply for the internships that the various companies will come to offer, right? So for an internship perspective, it is very important for you in your first year to understand broadly what is the domain that you would like to go for, whether you are more fit to be a marketing student, or be an analytics student, be a finance student, or be a HR student, right? So that broad understanding is very important for you to have. Second, you have to prepare on your profile as to what is it that you have done in your academics before your MBA, what have you done in your work experience if you have any. Third, what is the kind of performance you were able to showcase in your academics or in your work experience if you have, right? Third, when you're coming for an internship interview, how prepared you are in terms of the company knowledge, the leaders, the latest that is happening in that particular sector or that particular organization. Who are the key leaders? How has the leaders evolved in their respective journeys in those respective organizations? So just hinting at a few things that the companies would expect you to know from a internship perspective, right? Now, as Salman mentioned, this is a time-taking process, right? Where you will be guided on multiple sessions with your mentors, your faculties, with me, Salman, and of course the other members in the CMS team. We'll be helping you how to frame your answers on some basic general questions like what are your strengths, what are your weaknesses, what is that you want to do post your MBA, what is the kind of role that you're looking for, so on and so forth, right? So there will be a consistent intervention from the career development team to ensure that when the D-Day comes, you all are ready with the basic set of knowledge and basic set of questions that you need to prepare to crack that dream internship role in a dream organization, right? So that is the first milestone. The second milestone is, of course, the final placements that we talk about, right? Now, all the hard work and all the efforts that you have put over the period of 2 years, right? You have to showcase it to the recruiter when you are sitting in front to one in front of the recruiter, right? Now, as Salman mentioned, the careers team will enable the opportunities for each one of you, but you are one-on-one with the recruiter inside the interview room. Hence, it is very critical that you're able to showcase, you are able to present yourself well, you are able to answer, you are able to articulate your thoughts, and so on and so forth, right? So again, from a final placement perspective, the first and the foremost thing that becomes very critical is how thorough or how well prepared you are in terms of your knowledge of the internship that you have done in the first year, right? A lot of recruiters will ask you a lot of questions as to what exactly did you do in internship? Were you able to derive any meaningful insights? Were you able to add value to the organization, right? And so on and so forth. So that becomes the basis of discussion. Now, people who are coming or joining this PGDM program straight out of college, your internship becomes a premises of the experience that you have. and a lot of interview questions will be around your experience that you've had in the organization, right? Second, then comes your resume. Now, the resume is the first document that any recruiter sees, right? So it is very important that you have, spent some good amount of time in understanding what is to be put in the resume, what are the things that you need to highlight for a particular role, what are the things that you want to communicate to a particular recruiter, so on and so forth. Third is your LinkedIn profile. Now, a LinkedIn profile these days is a must, guys. You can't do without it. Any potential recruiter that comes to hire for a final placement or as a fact for internship would want to have a quick glance at your LinkedIn profile to understand what are the skills, how active you are, how actively you are contributing uh, to different social platforms, what are the things that you're talking about, and so on and so forth. And then, of course, there'll be a series of mock group discussions, mock PIs that we'll run through. Now, every recruiter has its own set of, own set of style of how they would want to do a GD or how would they want to do a group discussion. Sometimes you would get topics that are very conventional, like let's say how do you see artificial intelligence or machine learning changing the world in the next 10 years, or the topic can be as abstract as, let's say, orange versus green, right? So the career development teams ensure that you are able to handle any situation that comes your way in the recruitment process, right? So you will be given adequate practices to ensure that you are ready to handle any pressure situation that comes during the recruitment process. And of course, your overall grooming plays a very important part of it. How well dressed you are, have you come prepared, are you dressed formally, are you giving the right kind of energy, is your body language correct? So all these things you will be trained upon. There will be special experts both internally and externally who will be coming and guiding you through this process to ensure that when the final day is there, you are well prepared and well ready to face your round of interview. And of course, logical activities and practice sessions on your logical activities, quantitative abilities will always be there to ensure that for any evaluation that the company is putting our students through, we ensure that you are ready for it, and so that when the D-Day comes, then dream company or that dream job of yours arrive at the campus, you are fully prepared to give your best and eventually land up what you aspire to, right? So with that, I think I've concluded whatever I had to say, and I think we can now take questions, Salman, as you say.
Yes, thanks, Prateek. We'll go through the questions. So, Aishwarya, are they typing them into the Q&A part? Okay, yeah, I do have one question here. It says, I have a lot of Apoor Pathak. I have a lot of experience in different fields in the form of businesses, but I do not have any corporate experience. Does that matter while for the placement? So, Apoor, my simple response to you would be, when it comes to a specific role that you are applying for, based on the requirements of that role, your previous experience, business experience that you have talked about will come into play. Either it will impact or it may not. My feeling is at this point, it's a bit too early for you to, start worrying about that. If you do not have any corporate work experience, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You need not worry about that. A fairly large percentage of the PGDM program students do not carry any corporate experience. And yet the placement process works perfectly for them. In fact, if anything, if I'm to go by the data currently, our PGDM program is at times even outperforming the one-year program where we have students with the prior work experience when it comes to actually landing up with some of the best jobs. So you need not have any concerns on that. Shailaja has asked, good evening. I just want to ask you if there is any maximum or minimum number in which a student can set for interview with no. Shailaja, we do not put any kind of limits on that. Having said that, our past experience tells us that most students are able to get through in an average of 3 interviews. So there is, we do in our policy put down that you can go up to a maximum of 5 final interviews. This doesn't mean that you can apply to only 5 companies, because the final interview is the final stage in the process. But you can apply to any number of companies that you wish to. However, the final interviews that we are talking about cannot exceed 5. And trust me, 5 is a very good number. Rashi is asked, what can be the final cutoff for conversion? I'm not sure what that question implies, Rashi. Are you in case you are referring to cutoff percentages that you require? So some companies do set minimum, percentage criteria in class 10, class 12, and graduation for as a sort of a cutoff for shortlisting students for interviews. If that is what your question is, I would say yes, some companies do that, and typically it's around 60%. So you need to have 60% marks in your class 10, class 12, and graduation, a minimum of 60% for you to be, shortlisted for interviews. Vaishali has asked, I'm a fresher and curious learner, do not have work experience. So Vaishali, I've already answered that question. No concerns whatsoever. The bulk of the batch that will be joining along with you will not have any prior work experience. So please don't worry about that. There'll be adequate number of opportunities, and there's an adequate number of companies that are looking for students without any prior experience. Navpriya is asking, my background is B Pharma and I am a fresher. Yes, you are very much eligible for the PGDM course. Any graduation for us is absolutely fine. I do not see that as a problem at all. A B Pharm is a perfectly valid qualifier when it comes to the PGDM program. Ankesh has asked, I have 6 months experience in hotel industry, after which I had prepared for civil services, due to which I have a 2 years gap. Okay. Therefore, I am also pursuing masters. Will it be a problem? So the profile you've described, Ankesh, is not a problem technically. The 6 months experience that you have will be considered by companies which are looking at prior work experience. But as I said, since in the PGDM and for PGDM placements, prior experience is really not a prerequisite, I would say you have nothing to worry about. And yes, you can continue pursuing your masters. My only concern would be, I hope that you will not have a problem appearing. I mean, you will have to complete it before you join the program. I mean, that's the only concern I would have, because, that's where your, all your classes, etc., you'll need to spend time attending them. Then we have a question from Subra Jyoti. How should a fresher with a commerce background start building up his profile and skill sets to get best placements in the field of analytics? So, Subra Jyoti, my simple answer to that would be, analytics is a field that is now pervading across all the disciplines, right? So if you have a good commerce background, you are very much a good candidate to become a strong data analyst as well, or a business analyst as well. So I see no contradiction between your background and your desire to get into analytics or to get placement in analytics. I really do not see a conflict in the two at all. Shailaja again is asking average stipend of summer internship. Shailaja, I think it's close to 10,000 rupees or thereabouts. I do not unfortunately have the exact figure with me right now, but it's somewhere close to that. 10 to 15,000 is where I would say most of our students, get in. There are some summer internships that can get you up to 1 lakh, 85, 90,000. There are again certain others which could be lower, but 10 to 15 is something that most of our students do manage. And really, the stipend in a summer internship is just an incidental figure. You need not really have too much of a concern. It's just a 2-month period. The far more important part, which Prateek was also referring to when he was talking to you, is about how you perform in that internship, the quality of project that you do, the learning that you have, and your ability to translate that learning into a good interview performance in the following year. Rajshri is asking, and Shiksha showing a minimum placement for PGDM is 8 LPA and highest is the. Yes, absolutely. Rajshri, any data point that we share is, as you say, a real figure. You will not see any kind of fudging of data when it comes to us and the figures that we share. So the highest is 20. So for the previous batch, indeed, we had a highest of 20. This current batch, it's 19.3, as I just told you. And 8 LPA is the minimum threshold that we have. So the answer to your question is yes. ZAT cutoff, I think Aishwarya, I'll let her answer that. It's it's not a figure. I'll just let her answer that question towards the end. Aryan has a question on, do you have any examples of freshers from non-IT who have got good placement? Any number, Aryan. Non-IT graduates, in fact, bulk of the graduates who join our program are non-IT people. When you say non-IT, I'm assuming you mean people who have not done BCom or rather a BTech in computer science or a BTech in IT. So there are any number of those type of graduates who join our program, and yes, they get good placement. I mean, the previous 2 batches, we've had 100% record, and we are very confident of that 100% record being carried forward into this batch as well. So please don't have any concerns on that. Karthik, I do work in various NGOs and managing some business as well. Yes, Karthik, any NGO experience is always helpful. It develops you better as an individual. A lot of companies also pay importance to, any good social work experience that you carry, because it presents you as a more, shall I say, compassionate leader. So don't have too much of, you will surely be able to capitalize on that. Rashi is asking, I want to ask about CAT percentile. Rashi, I'll let the admissions team answer that question, because this is really related to admissions. Right after I finish, you can, I'll just ask Aishwarya to come in. In view of, this is from Rajas, view of recession, IT companies limiting projects, which other industry do you focus on? Rajas, we go across industries. So while IT happens to be our largest recruiter, they are not the only sector that we have. We have all sectors, including BFSI, including the manufacturing, including retail, including FMCG, including what have I missed out on? We get all sectors, basically, consulting, e-commerce, all of these sectors. So you need not have any concerns on that front. There is a good cross-section of industry that you will see. Shreya is asking, would we be given access to the recording? I'm pretty sure that should be possible. I'll let, again, Aishwarya deal with this question towards the end. Apoorv is asking, any tips on how to clear a B-score? Apoorv, just be yourself. Just be yourself. It's not just an interview. The selection process will have other aspects to it as well. But my feeling is, if you have belief and faith in yourself, you are able to communicate your thoughts coherently, you should be able to perform. Any tips for GDP? I'm not able to follow Aditya's question. I'm assuming you're saying GD as in group discussion. Oh, you're saying GD and PI. I mean, that's my assumption. So Prateek and I both highlighted that there'll be a lot of preparation that you will get for both of those, right? I'm hoping you're not asking me for tips for growth of the national GDP, because that would be a bit beyond the scope of this current webinar, right? Okay, Vivek is asking, I have 55%, may I face? My answer to you, Vivek, would be you may face a problem with certain companies. Certain companies, particularly IT and consulting companies, do have a cutoff of 60%, quite a few of them, not all, quite a few of them do have that cutoff. And you may not be able to get shortlisting in some of them. However, let me also add that there are other companies which do not have that kind of a restriction. So you need not assume that all companies will. About dual specialization PGDM, I'll again let our admissions team answer that. What all companies have participated? There's a very long list, Anmol, of companies which have already participated. Just this morning we were looking at it. So close to 35, 36 companies have already completed their process. So I can't list all of them here, but just to give you some names: Accenture, Cognizant, then we've had banks, we've had consulting companies. There's a very long list of companies that we have. If you wish, that list could be, or a part of that list could be shared with you subsequently. We've had Gartner this year as well, which is you would all be aware of. Kalal Saha, does aptitude knowledge matter? Aptitude knowledge always matters, Kalal. It's less of knowledge, more of the aptitude that you possess. So, since all of you, I'm assuming, would also be appearing for one of the tests like CAT or GMAT, that aptitude is already under test there, right? So we assume you would have enough of a, shall I say, expertise in those tests to be able to succeed in your placement process as well. Aryan, when can we expect results? Again, I'll let the admissions team answer that question. I'll not get into that. Roles offered in marketing. So in marketing, Prateek, why don't you answer that question, because you've been dealing with a lot of these roles that come in. Roles offered in marketing.
Okay, so this is some anonymous attendee.
Anonymous attendee, yes.
Okay, so when we talk about marketing, this year we've had roles like pre-sales, product, brand management. Then we would have sales, both B2B, B2C. Then we would have roles across. I mean, marketing is a very broad term, but yeah, we would have
some roles in digital marketing as well.
Digital marketing also.
Yes.
So it's a gamut. It's a gamut of roles that we have had, starting from pre-sales to post-sales. Everything we've had this year.
Good. Thanks, Prateek.
Yeah.
Ankesh is again asking, I am from non-tech background. I wish to combine HR with analytics. Will there be any provision of? Yes, Ankesh, all those three that you've listed are, well, we may not cover all tools, including Power BI, but Python, R, and Tableau are decidedly covered. And once you know one of these tools, you are in a very good position to answer questions from an interviewer on other tools as well. So don't worry about that. And yes, you can combine HR with analytics. In fact, combination of HR and analytics is a deadly combination. It's a very, very desirable combination these days.
It's a dream role for many.
Yes. Our friend, the anonymous attendee, has asked another one: chemical engineer, and I want to enter into HR. 1 year experience in Hindustan Unilever. Wonderful. I mean, I wish we had your name as well, but your profile will lend itself very well to this program. And yes, you can decidedly enter HR as an engineer, as a chemical engineer. In fact, a lot of the students who specialize in HR in the 1 year program as well are engineers who carry a variety of experience in fields including IT. Okay. Then we come to the next question. If I want internship, can I be free to attend? there is a summer internship, which is a part of this program, which I'm assuming, well, not just assuming, I'm certain all of you will have to be, you know, a part of that, of course. But other than that as well, if there is a live project or an additional internship that you wish to participate in, you are most welcome to do that. And we actively encourage that as well. Of course, the assumption is that while doing so, you will always be, you know, attending your classes and ensuring that, you know, there is no missing out on your curriculum. Rajas is asking, as of now, I have experience of 19 months. By 30th June, 23 months. Which course should I join? Ideally done hotel management. Look, Rajas, looking at your profile, you could go in for either of our programs. I mean, I do not wish to, you know, and your placement prospects would be equally good, regardless of whether you get into PGDM or PGPM. I'm looking at your profile specifically. Right. And there are quite a few people with a hotel management background who join our program. So no concerns on that. And GDPI question has come in again. I think I've answered that. If I want to do internship, and yeah, that has already happened. Okay. Would I, Kalal is asking, would I face a problem if my CAT scores are low? I'll again let, so Aishwarya, I'm about to just hand it over to you to address some of these other questions. What roles are offered in HR? Yes, this is a good one from Rashi. Prateek, you want to take this up?
Sure. So Rashi, this year we've had roles in HR. So we have had role in HR tech as well as the traditional HR roles. So when I say tech roles, we have roles in HR technology companies, and some of the companies that offered those roles were like Hono, Zing HR, and so on and so forth. Traditional roles that we've had are into talent acquisition, HR business partnering, learning and development, you know, and of course, yes, of course, all kinds of roles. So HR, we are very well covered. So employee engagement, performance management, these are the kind of roles that we've had so far.
Right. And another one is as an HR business partner. That is a very critical
business
role.
Partner. Yes.
And we've had a lot of those roles come to the campus this year.
How many?
Okay. Yeah. How many companies have given PPO? We haven't had too many companies giving PPOs. I'll give you a very straight answer to that. Last batch, there are about 4. This year, for the current, you know, the batch which is in first year right now, which will be going in for its summer internship, we are targeting a much larger number, and we are hopeful that our students will perform at a high level, which will enable these PPOs to come in. Then hotel management student completed, this is from Abhay, completed my graduation, soil interview. I'm interested in HR department, complete fresher. Abhay, you would have had your answer already. Person who's a perfect fresher without prior work experience and with you know, a good graduation and hotel management is absolutely fine with us. You are perfectly eligible for the program. Faiz is asking, I want to do HR, which program is good, PGDM or PGPM? Faiz, the two programs are very distinct. You know, as you would be aware, PGPM is largely targeted at students with prior work experience of at least, we say at least 2 years, but our PGPM students have an experience profile of 3.5 years or so. So if you have that kind of experience, you can consider it. Otherwise, PGDM will give you an absolutely fine and equally good and strong, you know, HR program as well. Anonymous again is PGDM. My answer to, he's asking if there are opportunities abroad. So my simple answer to that is we have not had any overseas placements for the previous batch. We could, you know, start looking at a few opportunities overseas as well, but it is possible that that might take a little bit more time. So I wouldn't look at that as a primary focus for CMS this year. However, there could be one or two that come up. I don't want to say that there won't be any. Admission team, again, there's a question from Ankesh, and I'm assuming, he's asking, would like to know more about design thinking workshop. I'm a hotel management student. Abhay Todi, again, completed this I've answered. He's typed it.
Yeah, I think we've answered it
A few times. Yeah, the same question has been. So I think we've covered all the questions on this list. If there's any other question, you can send it in to us later. We are reaching the end of this specific webinar. Aishwarya, if you want to come in now and address some of the other questions that they have, I think all the questions related to career services, Prateek and I have covered.
Thank you, sir. Yes, I'll take over the cutoff questions.
Yeah.
So the cutoff for this year for our CMAT would be around 85 percentile. For CAT, we are looking something around 75 percentile plus a good profile. And if you're an 80 percentile, then I think it won't be an issue because, but if you're a 75 plus, we would want a good profile as well. Like what are the other co-curricular things that you're doing and your other experience, if you're having, what kind of experience, all those profiles. And for NMAT, we have 210 plus. And for that, we're looking at 80 to 85 percentile. Is there anything else? As per dual specialization, we do offer minor and major specialization. If some students are interested in looking towards it, we do offer it. It's on you. It's going to be a little intensive for you, but if you are in for it, we have no problem at all. We do provide two specializations.
Yeah, I think you've covered the bulk of them. The rest of them, they can always, clarify with you and the admission team subsequently. So, that's what we wanted to cover. As I said, if there are any other queries, they can send those in to us and we can address them.
All right, I think we've come at the end of the session. Thank you, Prateek. Thank you, sir. Salman, sir, for giving us your time. And thank you, everyone who attended. I hope, we all hope to see you at the campus very soon. So all the best for your admission process. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.
Thank you, guys. Best of luck.